All right, it is the top of the hour, and as promised, doing a live broadcast here to go over 8 things you should be doing now to really lessen the adverse effect of the current situation that we're in. If you would also do me a favor, if you're joining us, there is an interactive poll as part of this live stream. Go ahead and answer those poll questions. That will help me some of the content that I need to create, some of the live do here in the coming days to really help you in the best way possible. The other thing I would ask you to do is if you've got friends, family, people who are really worried, concerned, anxious about the things going on right now, go ahead and share this live with them. And I'm going to give it just a couple of moments here. Let people join in with us on the broadcast. If you'll bear with me a second, I'm going to go ahead and get this shared over to my personal page as well. And then we'll get going here momentarily. Just to talk, kind of candidly, some of the things that are on my mind right now. This afternoon, our local school district announced that they were canceling the remainder of the school year. And that affects my daughter, who is a senior in high school. And definitely lots of tears this evening and trying to comfort her and it's kind of hard to do as a dad. And maybe some of you are dealing with the same things. Your kids are asking questions that you wish you had better answers for, or there are things that you wish you could snap your fingers and for them, but you're not able to do that. And that's kind of where, a lot of us are finding ourselves right now. A lot of unanswered questions, a lot of uncertainties, lots of doomsday predictions, depending on which source you're listening to at any given time. Things can sound really good or things can sound really atrocious. And so we want to put some good. So what I'm going to go down here with you here this evening is 8 critical things, and we're really going to be talking more financially that you really ought to be doing right now if you're not already doing these things to really lessen the negative impact that you're going to face coming through this particular time. Again, there is a poll with this live stream. If you would mind answering those questions for me, that's going to help me better serve you in the coming days as well. So the first thing let's talk about is you need to be reviewing your expenses right now. What are those little recurring transactions on your credit card or your bank account that right now you need to stop? Maybe you need to drop completely. So for example, I have a fitness membership at Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness is closed, so there's no need to be paying those recurring charges. There are other things that I have recurring payments to that really looking at where we're at today, where things may be going here in the coming months. It's really kind of foolish to keep those automatic withdrawals coming through my bank account. One of the things that's really key right now is to be making sure that money that gets spent is being spent on things that propel us forward. The danger for a lot of people in a time like this is they get stuck in hope mode. And what I mean by that is they are stuck hoping things will turn around quickly, or stuck hoping that they will get back to whatever normal was before. And that's a really dangerous attitude to take here. What you really need to be doing is looking at this particular moment in time, what is necessary, what is not necessary, and are there expenditures that you're making as a luxury when things are good that really you need to be cutting out right now. So for a lot of you, your cell phone for an upgrade. Well, maybe you don't take the upgrade. You reduce the cell phone bill down a little bit. Maybe you cut. Maybe you don't need the next Apple iPhone release. These are the types of decisions you want to be making. Do I really need to upgrade the television right now? Do I really need the enhanced cable package right now? Am I really watching all 270, home decorating and cooking channels? These are the types of questions you need to be asking yourself. Are there things that will allow you to function, but maybe you don't need to be as excessive with, or you don't need to be spending that recurring money? Kind of along those same lines is, here's one of the things you can be doing very quickly: sell unwanted or unneeded items. The great thing about Facebook, you've got the Facebook Marketplace, you've got Craigslist, maybe you've got some stuff laying around that you could offload very quickly, create some additional cash into your pocket, a way that you could create some additional room and margin in your financial situation. Obviously, most of us have things lying around that other people would pay us for. And so this is a place to examine those things. You may have an old baseball card collection that you stick out on eBay, or an old coin collection, stamp collection. It doesn't matter what it is. But do you have unwanted or unneeded items that you could turn into, immediate money? Secondarily, that you simply could just clear out of the way. Part of what you're going to find in this discussion tonight is we're going to be talking about the word simplification a lot. The simpler you can make things for yourself, the easier it's going to be for you to navigate these difficult circumstances. So be looking at those unwanted items, those unneeded items. Could I sell them? Could I give them to someone in need? Could I just simply clear them out so I've got more space for things that are more important? That there may be some other things that I need to begin to bring into my household to make this time a little more less difficult than that would be otherwise. Here's the third thing: don't make panic. Most people, when they deal with money, they deal out of one of three emotions: fear, hope, and greed. And any of those three is deadly. Any of those three will destroy. Those are not the way you want to operate. Make thought out money decisions, not panic decisions. Don't just pull up your phone one day and go, oh my goodness, such and such is down. The world is falling. I need to sell it out. Don't go clear out all the bank accounts. Don't be doing foolish things out of fear, out of hope, or out of greed. Make sure there's a strategy behind the things that you are doing. Now, I am going to get into some financial things, so let me say this. I'm not your financial advisor, I'm not your CPA, and I'm not an attorney. So you need to consult with your experts to see the things that are most appropriate for your current situation. And by the way, if you haven't taken the poll, take the poll. That's going to help me give you some better content here in the coming days so I can really match up to what's on your mind these days. So don't make panic money moves. Don't be too quick to adjust portfolios. Don't be too quick to go chasing after quick returns. And by all means, just because your stock or your holdings drop drastically, if you're going to sell out, make sure you're selling out on purpose and it's something you've already thought through so that you don't hurt yourself even more. One of the things you see, especially in the financial markets, is you have to remember this, that gains and losses are realized when you sell. And so if you've got time on your side, you're not in a necessity of needing to sell like a person who's going to need those resources 2 years from now. So one of the things you need to examine is what really is your time horizon. If you've still got 10, 15, 20 years to go, you've got the ability to ride out these things. You may want to make a few little adjustments. You certainly don't want to make large adjustments that are going to hurt you in the long run, because once you lock in those losses, they're locked in. And so you don't want to be doing those types of things. Put extra money towards savings. You've heard it said before, most people don't practice it. You really want to have a 6-month cushion minimum to where you could pay all of your household bills out of that. And so if you're saying, well, Carl, too late for that, here's the thing: start saving something. Right now, while your money is solid, if you're still employed, if you're still getting a paycheck, start putting some money away. Even if it's $25 a week, put $25 a week away, because that will buy you some gas, that will buy you some groceries. It may get you out of a jam. Start saving something and start doing it now. If you've got the ability, start putting all of your margin into savings as well. If you can get by with 50 or 70% of your income and stick the rest in savings, now's the time to beef up your savings. It's going to give you more options. It's going to give you more cushion. It's going to keep you out of some of those really dire, drastic, gut-wrenching decisions, because it's going to give you more options. So focus on putting extra to saving. Now, one of the things that happened here this last weekend is the Federal Reserve lowered their interest rate to 0. Now, what's going to happen in the marketplace is that means all of a sudden car loans are going to get really cheap. Mortgages are going to get really cheap, because they are trying to stimulate buying. So this is a great time for you to refinance out your debt from a higher level to a lower level. If you've got stuff that you're paying 7, 8, 9, 10 or higher percent on, now's a great time, if you can qualify, to refinance that down to a much lower level. Save that interest money. But here I would continue to make the same payment to knock down that debt faster if you still have the savings available. Or if you don't have savings available, then use that new margin to fund your savings and snowball the growth of your savings. But take advantage of what's happening in the marketplace. If you're a business owner and you've got capital loans out there, refinance them. If you're a real estate investor and you've got properties that you're paying 6% on, 5.5% on, keep checking those rates. And if they drop at least 2%, go ahead and refinance it. Take advantage of that. Give yourself some extra breathing room. The other thing you may end up doing with a refinance, not only will you be at that lower rate, but you amortize out longer and actually give yourself even more margin by doing that. Now, biggest thing that we want to talk about when we talk about the whole debt picture is if you can clear out debt, that's even better. The more debt you can get rid of, the faster you can get rid of it, the better off you're going to be, because now you've got more disposable income to work with to meet the needs of life. So if your debt picture right now, you're not going to knock it out in the next 6 months, then look at ways you can reduce the debt load so that you're able to put more towards savings so you can meet any cash flow shortages you have. Because that's going to be the real issue here in the coming months, is going to be disruptions in your income. Whether that's because the company shuts down, the mail service runs late, customers are behind on paying their invoices, any of those types of things can come up. And so you want to be able to navigate those cash flow shortages if you encounter them. A couple of things we want to talk about next here is look at what can you monetize. And what I mean by that is what things can you turn into money. Now, we had talked earlier about things laying around your house. Hey, I've got this old computer, or I've got an old car sitting out on the side nobody drives, or the old motorcycle nobody rides, or the old lawnmower. Those are tangible items that you can just offload and turn into money. But what I want to get into now is, what do you personally have meaning skills, hobbies, training, talents, abilities that you can begin to monetize. Maybe you've got the ability to start mowing lawns for people. Grass is going to continue to grow, I assure you. It's been raining here in Wichita. The lawnmowers will need to come out soon. Maybe that's something you're able to do. Maybe you've got a trade that you know how to do. Maybe you can do carpentry or electrical work or plumbing work. You can do basic handyman type services. Those are things you can monetize. Maybe you've got a hobby that other people would pay you for. You know how to play the piano. You know how to do art. You know how to draw, that you can monetize. And maybe you've got some skills that you can teach other people. So for example, I know how to do all sorts of marketing things. So several years ago, I just did screen recordings of things like Facebook marketing, search engine optimization, different strategies and things that I use in my business. And I sell those as courses on my website. And so that's a way to generate income off of the knowledge that I have. Maybe there's a book inside of you. One of my most recent books is a 40-page book. And all I did was I took a PowerPoint presentation that I make to groups. I filled in the blanks. I wrote a 40-page book in an afternoon, and then I uploaded it to Amazon. It is another source of income. Maybe you could produce a video course teaching people how to cook, different recipes, how to do keto, how to do vegetarian, how to do vegan, how to do the caveman diet or the paleo diet. What are the things that you do that you can teach other people in a virtual setting that they would pay you for? If you've got skills, you could freelance. So one of the things that I encourage anyone wanting to work online to do is to freelance their skills. Go out to Upwork.com, and I'm going to stick this in the comments just so you have that. So Upwork.com, it's a freelance site. And there are people all over the world that will hire you to do all sorts of projects. There are people that will hire you to translate. If you know another language, find people that are wanting to pay to translate to English or from English to that other language. You could write blog posts. You could do photo editing. You could do video editing. You could proofread. You could write blogs for people. You could do graphic design. In fact, a few years ago, I had a man in Israel that paid me $50 an hour to call him once a week and chew him out for not sticking to his goals for the previous week. So those are all types of things you can find out there. I have people that pay me to coach them, to consult with them. You know something that somebody else will pay you for. So don't be afraid to market those things. Upwork, however, will open not just a U.S. audience to you, but it will open a worldwide audience to you. So over the last few years, I've worked for clients in Israel, Ecuador, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, throughout the world, the Ukraine. I have worked for companies all over the world using that platform. So don't just stick to what's in the economy here. Look for ways to expand your economy as well. Now, beyond that, what can you teach other people to do? And this is back to that training idea. So maybe you've been a fitness instructor, yoga instructor, karate instructor, you're a physical therapist, you're a performance coach, you're a diet coach, you're a nutritional coach. If you've got that information, you ought to be doing live video driven events or pre-recorded video. Will pay a small subscription to get that information. In fact, you have to look at the trend. What we're going to find coming out of this, I believe, is that more and more of the things that we used to do face-to-face are going to be done virtually and online. And so we are going to begin to see fewer brick and mortar service providers and more moving into a digital age. And I hope I'm wrong on that. I don't think I am. I do feel like that's probably where we're headed. Now, the next thing I want you to consider is your alternate sources of income. And this can take on many different forms. I'm just going to tell you a little story to kind of help you with this. So in 2010 through August of 2011, my family and I lost everything. We'd started a new church in Corpus Christi, Texas, had no financial support, living by faith, and ended up losing our home, couldn't pay bills, couldn't afford food, couldn't afford pajamas, the whole 9 yards. So we ended up having to move in with friends. And during that time, I began to learn new skill sets. That's where I learned all of my marketing talents. But the second thing I began to do is I began to find alternate ways of making money. And so that was everything from cleaning up, lots where people were wanting to build, to doing yard work, to doing odd jobs. Ultimately, where that migrated towards is I ended up taking on some home businesses. Some of you may have direct sales kind of businesses. And let's just talk a little bit about those types of things. That's where a lot of people are probably going to also migrate. But the thing you want to watch if you're looking at a direct sales business is you want to be cautious that is super specialized or focuses on just one product or service. What you're really going to want to be able to offer is consumable, reusable services and goods, and you're going to want to have a large variety that you can offer. So, for example, we still have 2 direct sales businesses that we work with. One's in the automotive space. It's a reusable, consumable product. The other's in the household goods space, reusable consumer product. People are going to continue to buy those. People are going to continue to use those. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. If you have the magic pill, potion, or juice, when money is tight, people will discontinue those things because they don't make good sense for their normal household operation. So you want to look at those things. You want to look for other jobs that are just simply available. Maybe there's some old skills that you used to have that you could use now. So, for example, 25 years ago, I was a police officer. If I were desperate, I'd go hire just to keep money coming in. I would stock shelves at my local big box store late at night if I had to, just because they're going to be restocking like crazy because of the demand for supplies right now. So begin thinking about other ways you can create alternative sources of income. And we've covered some of these already: video courses, books, training programs. Begin teaching things that you know, become a virtual teacher, do freelance work. These are all ways to add extra sources of income. What you may find is that they become your primary source of income, or that you end up creating a basket full of income sources that help guide you along. One of the secrets that you find of the wealthy is that they always have multiple streams of income. They're not just reliant upon a job or a paycheck from a singular employer or a singular business. They will always diversify so that if one revenue source goes down, there are multiple other revenue sources to keep them moving forward. And so those are things that you want to start putting in place. I think, again, what we're going to find in the years to come, although we may not get to this extreme again in the near future, I think we are going to see more and more minor disruptions in the years to come, because you have to realize, especially here in America, we've just changed our way of life in an instant. I was telling somebody this morning, if you think about it, we've given up our freedom of assembly, our freedom of speech to a certain extent, and our freedom of religion to a certain extent, all in the name of a health crisis. And so what else will get disrupted in the years to come? Here in Wichita, we've even disrupted our educational system for the entire state of Kansas. And so if we don't have alternate ideas and alternate resources that we're putting into place right now, we're going to find ourselves in a really bad spot if we don't think ahead. And so you want to be looking at those alternate sources of income. And that brings us to the final thing here, and that is your mindset. There are really a variety of mindsets that you're going to see here over the coming days and here currently. There are those who are waiting for someone to do something for them. And everybody is good. Those folks, you'll know who they are because they are cheering that the U.S. government is talking about sending them $1,000. Problem is, $1,000 won't pay most of anybody's bills for even a month. Problem number two, a lot of those folks will take that $1,000 down to the mobile phone store, the electronics store, the car parts store, and buy things they don't need, and their situation will still be no different. They are waiting for someone to solve the problem for them. There's a second kind of person, and that person says, you know what? I'm going to take the environment and the situation as I find it now, and I am going to make the best out of it. Now, if you know anything about playing poker, you get the cards you're dealt, and the guy that really, or gal that does the best, that wins the game consistently, is the person who does the best job of playing the hand they've been dealt. So today, maybe your job's in jeopardy. Today, maybe your school got canceled. Today, maybe your savings account is dwindling. Today, maybe your 401k looks like a 201k. The question is, what are you going to do with the circumstance you find yourself in? What you'll find oftentimes is the greatest success stories were built in adversity. Speaking personally, we started 10 years ago coming out of homelessness. And it took that devastation, that catastrophe, to really retool, reinvent, rework, dream bigger, and put those things in motion. And we are able to do things now that we never could do before, that had we just stayed in survival mode, had we just stayed waiting for somebody else to make it happen for us, we'd still be waiting, and we'd probably still be in the same situation. And so what I want to encourage you in is change your mind. Think proactively. Be asking, what are the next steps? Of course, as a Christian man, the first thing I'm going to tell you is you ought to be praying, God, show me the opportunities around me. Give me the wisdom to know what to do with those opportunities, and give me eyes to see where you're leading so that I follow you in the path that is certain. These are the things you want to look at doing. So those are 8 steps that you can start implementing now if you haven't already, that will certainly help make what you're going through a little more tolerable. It's not going to be easy. We are all going to need to lock arms and get through it together. It is going to take not just yourself and not just your own drive. You're going to need other people alongside of you to help you through these times. If I can be that person, reach out to me. If there's something I've discussed with you tonight that you want to know more about, reach out to me and I will share with you my own experiences, what I know. I don't know it all. I'm not an expert by any means. I'm just sharing my own insights, having gone through some tough times before, having lost a home during a tornado, having been homeless, having faced economic downturns, having had businesses shut down. I've been there. These are the years of experience coming out. So those are some thoughts for you tonight. If you haven't already taken the poll, it will help me know some other things to discuss with you in the days to come. Please do that. If you found this video helpful, share it with those around you. Thank you for letting me speak into your life. We will get through this together. God is faithful. He is good. He's still on his throne. He's not caught off guard. And he's got a plan for you and me. Have a great night.